I'm Elizabeth Patrick, and I'm from northern Wisconsin. I've been in the Healing Master program since its inception. That's been almost 5 years. And I wanted to share about how this energy is so beneficial for our soul and spirit. So it might seem quite normal for someone who's been immersed in this energy for 5 years to look and see what else is out there. And so recently I decided to, because I always am somebody who's trying to enhance all of my spiritual consciousness and awareness and expansion, wanted to sign up for something and decided on a webinar with a well-known spiritual leader and author. He has authored over 28 books, and they're translated into 30 different languages. So I took the first course the first night, and it was very well done. It was very well organized. It was impressive in terms of its intellect, and it was, there were points A, B, and C, and under the A, B, and C, there were all these bullet points, and there was a lot of choreographed movements, and it seemed all very pleasing at the time. And I turned off my computer and a little bit later went to bed and noticed that I had this empty feeling. There was this real sense of sort of despondency and perhaps even depression and just emptiness. And I was wondering what that was about. Guruji always tells us to look for the results, and I was noticing the results of this webinar that I'd taken, and I was noticing that the results weren't that good. And it wasn't until the morning when I was waking up, you know how when you wake up, you are sometimes given revelations about something you've been thinking about. And it wasn't until I woke up that I noticed or knew that the reason that I felt sadness or emptiness was because the material that was covered hadn't fed and nurtured and nourished my soul and spirit. So it had been good for my mind, but it hadn't been good for my soul and spirit. It hadn't filled me up. And as I went through the day, I thought about this and thought of the analogy of a glass that's half full. And if a glass is half full, there's this thirsty part of it, and it's looking and it feels empty and it's trying to fill itself. But a glass that's completely full, there's no sense of emptiness. And I hadn't really realized it, but because of Guruji's, all of his teachings and assistance and mentoring, I have been full. My glass has been full. And I then wanted to think about why is it that I'm so full? Why is it that my soul and spirit is so full? Well, of course, it's the energy, but it's also the discourses. And I never really had thought about why I never wanted to miss a word of the discourses. But I try to make sure I'm on the call on time to hear every single word. And even after the transmission's been done, I leave, and maybe I sign off on my computer, but I stay on the phone and continue to listen because I want to get every single word. And those words are feeding our soul and spirit.